I have some beautiful perennials and a few annuals that I'm going to be planting out this autumn. And I'm so happy that you're here with me. My name is Bobby. You know, autumn time or fall, whichever you say, I usually say fall, but I'm trying to say autumn, is a perfect time to plant out perennials. For one thing, the weather starts turning a little bit cooler. There's not so much stress on the plant itself. And also it gives the plant the signal to say, focus on your root growth instead of focusing on your foliar growth or your bloom growth. So it's just really a good time. If you go 6 to 8 weeks, I've even pushed it to 4 weeks before my first frost date, you'll be doing just fine to plant out some perennials. The first thing is Guara. I love Guara. So this says it's non-hardy in zones 1 through 5. So if you live in a zone 6 and up, then Guara should be hardy for you. Isn't that just so beautiful? And the pollinators absolutely love Guara. And then adding some Coreopsis to your garden space is always a fun thing. Coreopsis self-seeds itself usually readily, and also it's very easy to sow from seed to add to your garden in the early spring or even late winter. Its common name is tick seed. It's hardy in zones 5 through 9. Butterflies love it. Supposedly deer resistant, and I haven't found the deer to bother it at all. So Coreopsis, I just wanted a little more to add to my garden. And then of course in my newly renovated garden space, I've showed you the space several times, but I think I've finally decided in a couple of areas exactly how I want to, what I want to grow in the different sections of the flower beds out there. Echinacea or coneflower. I bought 3 of these, and you'll see when I plant these what we're going to do. I'm borrowing the bird bath that I bought for my sister that's going to go down. She lives in another state, and when I go to visit her, I will be taking that. But so I'm going to borrow that so that I can see where to place these coneflower, because I want to get a specific type of a bird bath and put the coneflower around them. So you'll see me doing that. Let's take a look here. I should remember the hardiness zone on the coneflower, but I don't keep that in my brain. And they are hardy to hardy zones 4 through 9. So very hardy. These I will definitely deadhead in that garden space that I'm going to put these. Normally in my perennial gardens, I do not deadhead after the coneflower, the echinacea, blooms for the first time, because I do like to leave the seed heads for the goldfinch. But because these are kind of in my specialty garden area, I will deadhead them. They usually start blooming for me around the end of June. The coneflower do here. So I will deadhead my coneflower after that. That's in that space, and then I'll get another flush of blooms, maybe even another flush of blooms after that. But each time they're a little bit shorter and a little bit shorter. That's just the way it works. But anyway, I'm excited to begin to transition that space over to what the final plantings will be, and adding a few more perennials. Okay, with this next perennial, I'm taking my life into my hands because the bees absolutely love it. No, they won't hurt me. I'm not really taking my life into my hands. This is Caryopteris, and the one that I planted late last summer in my perennial gardens, sadly I lost it. I don't know what happened, whether I didn't water it enough at the initial planting. I'm just not sure, but it's definitely hardy in my zones. Let's see. They always put it backwards on your tag. You have to turn them upside down. Let's see. Hardy in zones 5 through 9. So I'm a zone 6B/7. So it's definitely hardy in my zones. This one is called Bluebeard Pavilion Blue, and it starts blooming midsummer and blooms all the way to the autumn time. But I'm not sure why I lost mine. And whenever I see an Echinacea purpurea, I almost can't resist it. I mean, look at the size of that bloom. Isn't that so beautiful? And the colors, this one is called Ruby Giant. The colors, the orange there, and then the petals. I mean, gosh, that is just so pretty. And as I said, this is Echinacea purpurea. This is sort of a common Echinacea that you see. Hardy in zones 4 through, actually the tag said 10. I said 4 through 9 on the other Echinacea. That's a different cultivar. This one's a little bit different cultivar, so it might be just a little bit more less tolerant to the higher heat zones because it's hardy in zones 4 through 9. But the Echinacea purpurea is hardy in zones 4 through 10, and it gets about 30 inches tall, so it's going to get really pretty tall in your garden. But I just love Echinacea purpurea so much, and I love to say it, Echinacea purpurea. And then, of course, who can resist pansies? I mean, I either do pansies or violas. Violas are a little bit more hardy for me, but I do like the flower and the show of pansies. So I bought 4 6-packs of those. I just got some purple pansies to throw in the mix. Purple can be considered an autumn color as well. And then I got more broccoli plants. And I will be covering this with my hoops and my bug netting, because if not, as you saw, maybe, I hope you watched my other video, even with the bug netting, the army worms got in there and started eating on my broccoli, on the foliage, and I think I have them under control. I don't spray or anything like that, but I just hand-picked and I just kept removing them and taking them out. And but I will cover these on another bed and see if we can figure out why the army worms got in that bed, and hopefully not in this bed that I will be planting these in. So I love my broccoli. One of the things I kind of splurge on in the autumn time is purple fountain grass. Purple fountain grass is hardy in zones 8 and up. So as I said, I'm in a zone 6B/7. It's not hardy for me at all, but I can't resist. It's kind of like the pansies. I can't resist purple fountain grass. And as soon as the frost hits it, you know, it turns brown and it's all goopy. Actually, it lasts a little bit through maybe a frost or two. But then after that, it's just like all brown and dead looking. And sometimes I even leave it in that state for a little bit in my container. I did buy the one bigger one. It's fairly expensive, but at my local nursery, I sneaked in. They had these all blocked off for my friend, the lady that works there, and she had them all blocked off. She was going to use them for their containers to sell, and I went to her and I said, could I please have 4? I need some of the smaller ones. So she said, of course, yes. She's very nice. So she let me buy 4 of hers that she was going to use. So I'll be showing you the different places that I'll put this lovely fountain grass. But this, of course, is an annual. This is a type of a Cockscomb Celosia. And I did not grow any of this year. The only Celosia I grew this year, or I didn't even grow it, it self-seeded itself, is the wheat type Celosias. And they're all over my garden if you saw my last video. But I bought this for one reason. Can you guess? I'm going to cut all of these blooms off for drying for my dried flower Christmas tree. And if I cut them about right here, then you can see all the little blooms coming on. I think it should be fine. If it were earlier in the season and I wanted these as cut flowers, then I would cut them down much lower, because it would give me the longer stems and it would give the plant time to produce more longer stems as well. But since we don't have that much time left here in this growing season, I'm just going to cut them pretty short, and I don't need them for long stems anyway for the dried flower Christmas tree. And I'll dry all of these. That's so beautiful. If you want to stick with me for the rest of the video, I'll show you a few shots of me planting in the different places.